I said I'm the most famous. I'm the most famous Perron. I'm the most famous Slote. Two separate names that my family has, which happens to have quite a few people in it. But I'm the most famous, meaning you can search me up, and when you search my family name up and all that. But that was always a hater thing with the family too. At the same time, they wanted me to succeed because it was only good for our family, but they had different ways to motivate me. But at the same time, they didn't. Some of them are stone cold. They didn't want nothing from me. There is some stone colders that go through that, like my auntie and my dad. They, I think by themselves, they might smile and they like it and all that, but sometimes to my face, they've made me feel like, no, they told me they don't like the name thing. But I told them it's only gonna be an even worse look if I don't run with my name thing, and that would destroy my life to not run with my name. And you drove around with your name for 25 something years, Denny Bus Lines, and you changed it to a different name. But the Slote name still remains with this man because this man just wouldn't keel over. Because that was a big Slote thing. We just wouldn't keel over all the way. Because guess what? Just like Jesus, my grandfather that passed away, he resurrected within me. And they're, what is it called? They say I'm a lot like Jesus. He built all these tables and then they took advantage of him, tortured him, and killed him, and all that because he was a tryhard, loved his father too much. But I've learned from the ways of Jesus, and I try to avoid such things that would end me up on a crucifix. But that is the time that we're nearing, actually. February, March, and then there's April, and I believe that's when that we start crucifying. See, I grew up a Christian, not a Muslim, even though I've sat there and I've listened and I've learned and I like it and the food tastes great. But I remember growing up as a Christian, and that's what got me to this point. So I will continue to be that Christian. And one thing we do, and I've gotten to the point where I'm so mad. I am so mad right now. I cannot wait for the crucifying to begin this year. Like, oh, how about the Philippines? Oh, I just cannot wait this year. I'm going to order such a great meal this year to go along with this. They do a crucifying every year. Can't wait till 2022 crucifixion. I want them to freaking get it right in that criminal's hand and just, yeah, I want to see it. And I'm going to be buying meals. This one's going to be a big one this year for me. I want to see someone good up there, though. Someone special. Someone, Manny Pacquiao, I don't know. But I want to see something good. But I can't wait for the crucifixions this year. But now that's subsided, and maybe I feel like saying Manny Pacquiao made me look very bad in some eyes, but I don't know what I was trying to say. But that's how mad it was that I would even just say that name. What was it? The Philippines? Well, the same thing can happen here. It doesn't happen much, but I don't think it's that. Well, the KKK used to put crosses up on people's lawn and try to enlighten them. And me, what do I think? Well, I think that was a good thing. Hey, that's just my personal opinion. Once there was and because guess what's happening? Those blacks, oh my gosh, they've been taking advantage like crazy. And nobody will light the cross and enlighten them because they've outlawed that, and now they've taken advantage, and it's like wolves eating sheep all day long around me. And nowadays, there's no warning anymore. They're just shooting the wolf. See, they used to warn the wolf. The KKK was a good thing, eh? They used to go around on the horse, and there was some wolves in town, whatever, and they were raping the this and that, so they were robbing. So they'd hop on their horse and they'd let them know right away. We caught on. We know what's going on. Light the thing. Light the cross. And they'd enlighten them like, hey, bud, you're gonna end up lynched or what worse. Some people ended up lynched or worse. when they crossed that specific line. They didn't let the cross enlighten them and teach them like, oh, I better run from the fire or whatever different ones, or maybe I should, or they're seeing me. It's not as dark out as I think. I'm not in the shadows. The lights. There's a lot of different meanings to it. Anyways, but that doesn't happen anymore really much, especially not in Canada and other places. So a lot of them are getting away with. A lot of people are, and when I say them, it makes me look bad to some. When I say them, I mean it could be white, black, whatever criminals are not being enlightened the proper way. But it happens in America a lot now too. With I don't know the police shooting the black people, police shootings. We never used to have that. Well, the KKK wasn't one of those ones because that's mainstream main America, the ones that own the houses in a lot of areas and all that. They were just letting them know, like, hey, this is your demonstration to act up, or you better watch your ways, you could get lynched or shot or whatever. But now there's none of those white demonstrations anymore. We got all these black demonstrations and whatnot. But there's a lot of police shootings where they're shooting the black ones down and whatnot. Which is not a good thing either. We want equality and everybody to be happy. That's what I learned when I grew up. I wanted everybody to be happy. I had a black friend named Edward Watson when I was in middle school. But guess what? I'll be 100% honest with you. Edward Watson wasn't the best character. He seemed very fit. But then as I got to know Watson, he was a real sneaky. I caught him having sex with my mother. And I caught him having sex with the teacher. Doing a little deviant kind of stuff. Doing deviant things. But he was never straight up. You know, that's a fantasy, having sex with a teacher. I can agree. Hey, it was a very, I don't know what to say about it. But she was a beautiful teacher, so whatever. But you started to notice those things. Or how about setting your family up and killing them or things like that? Or hearing around the streets that they're going to try to set you up and kill you. And things like that. It's not illegal to be prepared. They make things for a reason. Like, say I got that master lock door security bar on my thing. It's not illegal to have that. I haven't switched the locks or nothing. If that's the condition that you live in where you're not able to switch the locks. But it's just knowing those things from the history of them that, well, I should keep, and things that have happened to me, but just not me. But some people learn from others that I needed that door security bar because that door is not very strong. So with people's characteristics, they create a history over time because we've been around a long time. And it just so happens that, well, they call it racism, but whites, Caucasians, and others have identified certain ones of carrying these certain characteristics. Well, kind of like breeds of dogs. You know, in Ontario, pit bulls are illegal, and they say they're going to legalize them and all that. But I am one of the ones that say, you know, they showed the certain characteristics. Like, look at my finger. This was bitten off by a pit bull. It had to be surgically reattached. They've showed their characteristics that they can't be trusted because they're overly aggressive in certain ways. But not only overly aggressive, but their body is just, they're detrimental to human safety for sure. They get sexual. You think they don't? They do. When they get sexual, they take power. Why a lot of women like them is they have sex with them. And they're like their big muscle man that they couldn't get or couldn't get along with at a human level. Some of them are all right. I had some really nice ones. Choppy was a good one. My brother's dog Chop. What about Gooch? But if Gooch got mad, she'd take your fingers off. So if you want to take the risk of taking your fingers off, you can do that, and that's to teach their own. I think they should, but there should be areas where there should be areas also where, hey, ones that don't want to take that risk should be able to live. Kind of like Florida with the marijuana. They don't want it down there. Exactly. You know, there's certain ones that, there's certain areas.